Talk to me, Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Talk to me, Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Majestic.
Hello, everyone. This is the Majestic Talk Show. I'm your host, Latasha Morgan, certified Christian life coach, certified professional life coach, board certified master Christian mental health coach, and a whole lot of other goodies, y'all. Yes, that day, that time of the week, it is time for the Majestic Talk Show. Today we have on the show Dr. Robyn Graham. She is a business growth strategist and coach. So Dr. Graham, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Latasha. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. We had a little trouble, which is why we're back again, going live again. And she's just like, it's okay. Well, it's all right. What are we going to do? We're not going to cry. And I like your attitude because I was like, oh, my Lord. Okay, so our topic for today is the 5 C's journaling method for navigating negative, doubtful, fearful thoughts. And Dr. Graham has a presentation that she's going to share with us about anxiety, okay? So, Dr. Graham, thank you again, and go ahead with your presentation.
All right, here we go. So I would be curious, and I can't really see a raise of hands or a show of hands, but you can always put your answers in the comments, and Latasha can see those as I'm talking. But I would be curious as to how many of you watching or listening have anxiety or know someone who has anxiety. In the US, the prevalence of anxiety is 31%. 31% of US citizens have anxiety. And it's 50% more likely for women to have anxiety than men. I mean, go figure. We are trying to juggle a million things at one time most of the time, right? Multitasking. Well, anxiety is an abnormal sense or apprehension and fear around a certain situation or something that is going on in your life that is marked by physical symptoms. Some of those symptoms of anxiety include racing heartbeat, shortness of breath, inability to sleep, fatigue, maybe shakiness, sometimes physical pains like stomach pains that are unidentified and inexplainable. And other times, some people who have anxiety or a lot of negative, fearful thoughts will be irritable or maybe even show outbursts of anger. These aren't uncommon factors, and sometimes they overlap with people who are just worried or busy or hustling, but they are associated with anxiety. And in order to navigate anxiety, you really need to understand what your triggers are. So when those physical symptoms are happening, what circumstances or interactions have you just had that maybe triggered those symptoms of anxiety? So for example, maybe somebody is coming to visit and you have to prepare the house and get ready. Or maybe that person is someone from your past that you've had negative interactions with before. And so you're anticipating all of those what if thoughts, negative thoughts about what's going to transpire when that person's here. Maybe you have a trip coming up and you're stressed and anxious about traveling or packing or who you're going to visit or what experiences you're going to have while you're away. Maybe it's that you have a speaking engagement on the horizon and you're anxious about that. Or maybe you just had an interaction with someone or an argument with someone that has left you feeling anxious and thinking, what if I said something wrong? What if they never like me again? What if they never talk to me again? Another example of this is you send out a text to someone, they don't respond, and your brain automatically goes to, what if I said something wrong? What if they don't like me anymore? What if something's happened to them? All of these what if thoughts can trigger anxiety, trigger those physical reactions in our bodies. The important thing to note here is that mind-body connection. If you can identify the triggers, then you're going to be able to navigate the situations. So let's use the example of maybe you have a speaking engagement coming up. You've been asked to do a presentation at work or at church or to a networking organization that you belong to, and you are anxiety stricken over this because you have a fear of public speaking and your mind is saying, what if I mess up? What if I say something wrong? What if I trip and fall on the stage? What if I don't wear the right clothes? What if somebody asks me a question and I can't answer the question? All these what if thoughts are going through your mind. And now you have all of the signs and symptoms of anxiety that you frequently get when you're anxious. Well, now that we know what's triggered that anxiety, that it's the speaking engagement, how can we set ourselves up with a strategy so that the anxiety can be lessened and we can actually do the thing? So maybe it's that you practice the talk. Maybe it's that you have someone read through your notes to make sure you're on the right track. Maybe if somebody hasn't given you a specific topic to speak on, you speak on something that you're passionate about, that you know a lot about, that you're the expert on, because then it's going to be 10 times easier and you aren't going to question whether you're going to say everything right or wrong because you're not going to have to do a lot of research to prepare. Maybe it's that you have a friend or family member come with you. So you have a friendly face in the audience and you just feel more comfortable. And as far as what to wear so that you don't panic about that, maybe you Google, go on Pinterest and see what are people wearing for speaking engagements or networking engagements, and try to go to your closet. You don't have to go to shopping and you don't have to spend a fortune, but go to your closet and find something similar that you feel good in, because the better you feel in your clothes, the more confident you're going to be. So you can apply this type of strategy to anything you have going on in your life. The same thing with travel, the same thing with people coming to visit. Whatever it is that's triggering those anxious, negative thoughts, you can create a strategy on how you're going to navigate that to decrease the anxiety so you can actually get out there and perform or do the thing that you do want to do, but these negative thoughts are holding you back from. Our brain is so fascinating. God created it so intricately and so miraculously, but there are some hiccups in our brains, right? And one of those hiccups is called negativity bias. We are 2/3 more likely to focus on negative thoughts than positive thoughts. So if our brain is doing this already, and then we have anxiety on top of it, those negative what if thoughts are going to be like a Ferris wheel going on and on and on in our brain, and it's going to be hard to stop them. And this is where self-talk comes into play. And it's so important to not do negative self-talk, because then it really is like a train car that's just stuck and the wheels are just spinning, or a car that's in the mud and the wheels, the tires are just spinning and spinning and spinning. That's what's happening in your brain. With the more negative things that you think about yourself, the more you're going to believe those negative things, and it's going to be harder to navigate them and change them to positive. What we focus on is what we create. Our thoughts create our results or our outcomes. So what do I mean by that? Well, we all have beliefs. Those beliefs can come from what we were taught to believe. They can come from our faith. They can come from past experiences and what we believe about other people or circumstances because of experiences that we've had. Our beliefs are going to influence our thoughts. So if we have negative beliefs, we're probably going to have negative thoughts going through our mind as well, right? If we have negative beliefs that we can accomplish something, or that other people love us and trust us and believe in us and respect us, we're going to have negative thoughts about that. So those negative thoughts are going to influence our emotions and our feelings. Our emotions and feelings are going to influence the decisions we make and the action we take. So if we say, for example, want to start a diet and we set out to do it, we want to lose 20 pounds, we bought all the fruits and vegetables, we've decided to exercise, and a couple days in, we don't believe we can do it. Maybe it's something someone said, maybe it's something we read, maybe we're thinking about a past time we tried, but these negative beliefs as to what our abilities are triggering negative thoughts, saying, well, what if I can't do it? I'm just going to let everybody down. Well, if I'm just going to let everybody down, why am I even trying? And then those thoughts make you feel lousy. Your energy is depleted. And now you're sitting on the couch binging on Netflix with a bag of chips instead of eating a healthy meal or going for a walk. So you can see how the negative beliefs influence everything all the way down to the action that you take, and therefore your results are affected. If we flip that conversation in our head to, I can do this. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. I am dedicated. I am disciplined. I have to do this for my health. I'm going to do this. I want to feel proud about myself. I want to make other people proud of me. I am going to succeed. What's going to happen? You're going to have more energy. You're going to go to bed early at night so you can get up early and exercise. You're going to go to the grocery store. You're going to have the fruits and vegetables, and you're going to cook, and you're going to eat healthy, and you're going to succeed. So it all depends on how we think. So the most important thing that I can emphasize here is really paying attention to what you're thinking. And now we're going to jump into those 5 C's that Latasha mentioned before. So the 5 C's are catch, challenge, change, control, and confidence. I am a firm believer in journaling. And the reason I'm a firm believer in journaling is that there is scientific data. Yes, I'm a nerd. I like to talk about science. But there is scientific data to say that when we journal and we take our thoughts and we use our hands to write them out, we actually we have the opportunity to change our thoughts and have outcomes similar to meditation. So that's why I like journaling so much, because I am not someone who can sit still very well, but I can sit and journal, and I can take what's in my head and get it onto paper. And it does help tremendously. So when you're experiencing negative thoughts, if you can catch them and realize, oh, why am I thinking these negative thoughts? And then challenge them. Would someone you know, love, and respect be thinking the same thing about you that you're thinking? Chances are no. So if the answer to that is no, then change those thoughts. It's easier said than done, right? It sounds simple, but it actually takes a lot of hard work and practice. Not to disappoint you, but it does take effort. So when you realize that you've had these negative thoughts, they really aren't realistic. Like, no one else would be thinking these things about me. Write them down and change them. When you write the negative thought and then right next to it, write the positive thought, your brain is going to register that, and you can start to change those neural pathways in your brain. The more you do these exercises, the more control you'll have over your thoughts. You'll be able to recognize more quickly the negative thoughts that you're experiencing and be able to change them faster. So the more control you have over those thoughts, the more confidence you're going to have. And the more confidence you have, the more you're going to trust yourself to be able to go out into the world and do the things that you've been so afraid or that negative thoughts have held you back from. So that is the 5 C's of journaling method. And like I said, because we are prone to negative thoughts just innately through negativity bias, this isn't a one and done exercise. You actually have to practice it. So it's something that I encourage you to do on a daily basis. And you can keep a notepad with you, or you can, at the end of the day, go through what you've thought. Or sometimes it's even good to do it in the morning when you wake up and you're feeling anxious about your day. And you can really reframe your thoughts about your day just by doing this exercise. Now, there are other things that you can do for navigating these navigating these negative, anxious thoughts as well. The first is I want you to realize that oftentimes what happens when people have anxiety, depression, mental health challenges, or just from past experiences, shame can build up. But shame does not serve us. And so if you are feeling ashamed, it's really important to get that out as well. And sometimes I'm not going to just paint a rosy picture here. Sometimes we need more help than just trying to navigate this ourselves. Sometimes we need medicine. Sometimes we need a clinician. And sometimes we need both for more than 6 months to be able to retrain our brain. But every one of these exercises that you do, the more likely you are to get better and to get better faster. Now, anxiety may never go away, but now you'll have the tools to navigate it. And that's what's key, is to be able to have something in your back pocket so that you can still pursue a joyful, purposeful, happy life. So when we think about shame, think about giving yourself self-compassion. You would give others compassion if they were going through something hard. So give yourself that same compassion. The same with grace. Give yourself the grace that you would give others. Forgive yourself, forgive others, and allow that grace to settle in, kind of like Jesus did for us, right? Allow that grace to settle in and comfort you. Because what grace really means is that all of those past mistakes that you've made or experienced are now lessons you've learned. And those lessons you learn put shame aside. So there is no more shame. So that really becomes a beautiful thing, because so many people with anxiety or mental health challenges feel ashamed because they don't feel normal, in air quotes. And we're all normal because God created us all in his image. But we just have a hiccup in our brain that's holding us back from certain things. Or maybe it's because of certain past experiences and traumas that are deep rooted that we have to navigate through. So again, I want to emphasize that anxiety doesn't go away overnight. These are activities that you have to do diligently every single day. But some other things you can do to navigate anxiety and make sure you have a healthy mind. You can eat right, exercise, those positive endorphins, the dopamine release helps decrease the cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So all of those things work together to make you feel better. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night. Lean into your faith. We know that we can do all things through him. So you can put all of these wants, desires, needs, challenges at his feet, and he will guide you through them and give you peace. And then you can also tap into your creativity. Your creativity, so many people say, I'm not creative. I don't have a creative bone in my body. But we were all created to be creative. So you can tap into that gradually. Think about getting an adult coloring book or just doodling on a piece of paper, doing puzzles, gardening. And when we talk about creativity, it could be anything that just kind of ignites you, gives you passion. It could be just going for a walk and looking for flowers or at flowers, taking your phone with you and taking pictures. That's another creative thing that becomes a stress outlet or can decrease anxiety. And when we talk about movement, it doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to do high impact aerobics or go for a run. You can go for a walk. You could go for a bicycle ride. You could work in the garden, but do something to move your body, and that will help you be healthier. And then the other thing I want to say is gratitude. We know that gratitude has a lot of positive effects on our brain. So something that I love, and this is a journaling practice as well, but if you look back at your day at the end of the day, when you, even if you're laying in bed, look back at the end at your day and grab a pen and paper or a little notebook and write down 3 things you're grateful for. Chances are that things will come up and you'll be like, well, I don't know what I'm grateful for today. It was such a bad day, whatever happened. But like, say your car broke down. Well, you were safe. You had a place to take it. You had the money to pay for it, to get fixed. You had somebody to pick you up so you weren't stranded. There's always something to be grateful for. We have so many challenges in our lives every single day, but so many times somebody else has it worse. And I hate to sound cliche, but when you start doing this gratitude practice, you will really see how many blessings you have, and you'll feel more content. And that contentment will help you feel more confident in who you are and how you are. And it'll decrease that stress and pressure to perform or to do or to be more than what God's really called you to be. And then the other thing is that you could do is, of course, meditation. I like to journal versus meditation, but meditation works great too. And then visualization. So back to that example of doing the presentation, visualize yourself doing the presentation, standing on that stage, standing firm in who you are and the gifts that God's given you. And when you visualize yourself as a success or being able to do the things that you desperately want to do, but negative thoughts, fear, doubt, anxiety has held you back from, you're going to be more likely to be able to do them. All right, that is the end, Latasha. So do you have questions for me?
Oh my God. I'm so glad I had you come on here. Let me just say there were a few things that caught my attention, because when you said about catching your negative thoughts and then writing them down next to positive thoughts, that I see that as being able to see where I came from, what was hindering me first were the negative thoughts from doing what I need to do. But the positive thoughts are what the gateway, the bridge I need to get to do what I need to be doing. Just like today, we had this problem. So I see why you were so nice and calm. And you're like, hey, I just feel bad for you. I mean, I see why, because the negative thought in my mind was, oh my gosh, you ain't gonna come on my show anymore. And then, so I was like, I've never had this problem because I don't like having problems. I love control. So that helped me. I love that. And we can change our own negative thoughts. We can change those negatives into a positive by really just understanding that no one actually thinks the same thing about us that we think. And that's the thing. We always think that people are saying certain things in their mind or behind our backs, and they probably aren't saying anything at all. So it's just in our mind. And it goes back to Dr. Daniel Amen, saying, you cannot believe everything your brain tells you, because everything it says isn't true. Oh, that made me think about that. And instead of thinking about the negative things that happen in your day, think about the things that did take place that were great and positive. Because that happened to me. My car broke down. And I was in my mind, I was like, why is this happening to me? My bumper died. All that stuff at the same time. My mom died. And that was strange because no one expected it. Then I had a wreck in the car that she left here. Then, and it was crazy. Then I got into my sister's car. Then for some reason, something just stopped working on the car, wouldn't crank up. And then the next week, the tire messed up. So if I had those, I started thinking about those moments. What are the positive things about that? When something happened to my mother's car, when we were in the wreck, we didn't die. We were good. We were safe. We were able to walk out without a problem. When the car stopped working, at least I had gotten to the places that I was supposed to go to. At least there was somebody there to help me, to assist me in both situations. At least I'm still here, So I think if we do, you're right. If we start thinking like that, seeing the positive part instead of the negative, I do think we'll get a lot farther in life. And it's strange that our mind thinks the negative more than it thinks the positive. So those things those things stood out to me.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable because, but you know, it all goes back to, and we have this little tiny thing in our brain called the amygdala. And back before, you know, when our ancestors were cave people, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't have anything to keep them safe. They had to be on guard all the time. And because that's how the brain was trained to be, the brain is still that way. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're always on guard. And then if you think about, like there are certain, you know, genetics, and it's like in our DNA, and then it's also experiential. So if our loved ones went through trauma, when say your grandmother went through trauma when she was pregnant with your mother,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to carry down to you. And
Mm-hmm.
it goes way back in generations. And so when that happens, our brains are always on alert, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we have to really focus on that. And like I said, you know, used to I would panic if we were running late, or what if something, and I'm like, okay, I'm being protected from a car accident or from something bad happening on the road. You know, it's just a matter of, and it has taken me years to get to the point where I don't freak out or panic. And I still do sometimes because I'm human, right? And Satan has that like double-edged sword poking at me all the time. So I really have to ground myself in my faith and this practice to be able to keep myself in that place of positive thoughts, not letting the negative take over.
Yeah, yeah. And it is hard. It's difficult. And one thing you said about giving ourselves grace. If we fail at any moment, instead of saying, well, I won't do this again, or instead of me saying I won't do this show anymore, or something like, I didn't say that, but I'm saying just example, because some people may do that. You know, if they have a
Mhm.
problem because they don't like problems, they may say, well, maybe this is a sign that I should just stop doing it. Maybe for some reason we think that. And I think giving ourselves grace is important, because
Mhm.
we're not going to get things perfect all the time. Everything is not going to work out the way we think it should work out, but it's going to work out the way God thinks it should work out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever we are facing, we don't know the end result, but I think we could be confident in, and if we trust God in the situation, that everything will work together for our good, even
Mhm.
though at the moment it doesn't look good.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because he never promised life was going to be all roses, right? I mean,
Right.
you look even in the Bible, the people that struggled and the, you know, the things they were faced with and the challenges, and we're going to have challenges, but it's what we do with those challenges. And do we look at them as, you know, someone is out to get us and trying to destroy us, or do
Mm-hmm.
we look at life as this is an opportunity to learn and grow? And now maybe it's just the simple fact that there's going to be something so much better on the other side that I never could have dreamt of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. But when you get to that moment, it's bad when you're going through it. But when you get to that moment, you'll be like, oh my goodness, this is what God was trying to do. This is what happens when I continue to move forward and not allow things to distract me and keep me from doing what I've been called to do. I mean, so, like I said, I really appreciate you coming on to the show, Dr. Robyn. I really did. I don't know how many people, I'm sure a lot of people will be watching this, and a lot of people need this very show to help them to continue to move forward. So I really do appreciate it. I really do. So let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, get your services, and where they can follow you.
The best place is just to go to my website, therobyngraham.com, and you can access the podcast there. There's a free resources page under the services page. You can learn more about me. And if anyone has questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm available at info@therobyngraham.com. And I would welcome anybody just coming over to the podcast and then stopping in to say hi.
So, like I said, thank you so much for being on the show. Like I said, I really appreciate you. And all of you out there that's watching, thank you so much for watching. Or if you're going to be listening later, thank you so much for listening to this show. This is the Majestic Talk Show. I'm your host, Latasha Morgan, certified Christian life coach, certified professional life coach, board certified master Christian mental health coach, and a whole lot of other goodies, y'all. We'll see you next time on the Majestic Talk Show. Have a nice night.